to the core of my being, I think that this is outside of any individual human or group's control, what's happening here. I think that it is much of the things that we fear, that we've talked about, are going to come to pass. They just are. And this is not me being prophetic. I'm just speaking from my most humble opinion. A lot of these things are going to come to pass. Smart cities will come to this country. Agenda 21 will roll out. The same excuses, even real things like the climate are going to be weaponized and used. Anything that can be weaponized will be weaponized. Here's what I think is inevitable, though. Underneath that is, right now, we've been given the technology, even though we complain about having all this technology and how it's spying on us, we've been given the technology to get our ideas into a collective, you would say, cloud, but social media and social machines like Amazon, we can engage with them now. And we have the technology to do this. I think what's inevitable is that the more obvious these agendas become, the more inevitably people are going to see the writing on the wall. Like the average person 100 years ago didn't have the wherewithal, potentially, and I could be wrong on some of these people, but didn't have the wherewithal to really know what they would do with all this technology that we have today. And I think that they wouldn't have understood foreign policy. They wouldn't have understood any of these things because they didn't have all the books in the world. We now have access to a lot, not all of it, because Google loves shoving shit into dusty corners. But I think that a lot of these things that we worry about are coming to pass, but they're not coming to pass. I always say that, yes, there are conspirators in the world, but there's an underlying conspirator that connects all of humanity. And this thing is not out of that conspirator's control. And we need to be faced with exactly what's happening right now, like COVID and freedoms, mandates, taking away our freedoms. Why is that important? How can you be grateful for that? Well, you can be grateful because before COVID, millions of Americans had no reason to refine the philosophy of what freedom even means to them because it was never threatened. They had no idea what freedom was because it was never threatened. They were born into affluence and they had no reason to even know that it's any different than the air that they breathe. It's just a given. Why be grateful for it? It's always been here. It'll always be here. So everything that's coming to pass has a symbolic nuance inside of us. And that symbolic nuance is, I believe, a key that unlocks us to real deep potential that we have. When I was a conspiracy theorist pre-2020, a lot of even I was thinking I'm not seeing enough evidence for it. So whatever, I'm just going to jam. I'm just going to keep being a musician and everything like that. And now a crisis happens. 2020 happens. That put everything that I'd ever researched into perspective and gave it a mission. Share it with the world, wake the world up, use all this training that you've been given to help people wake up quicker without the residue. They don't need to go through 12 years of being a conspiracy theorist. They're going to wake up to it in a year, but that means that's going to fucking shatter their psyche. And that needs to be integrated into a new psyche. And that is what I see is happening. So I think we're focusing a lot on things that are real, but my job isn't to deconstruct the World Economic Forum. Good luck with Ben Joseph Stewart doing that. What my job is to help other people organize and keep their center amidst the rapidly changing world, because we're going to go through more changes in this next 10 years. It's my full belief that we will see more change in the next 10 years than our ancestors did in the past 100, 200, maybe 300 years. It's going to be incredible. People aren't going to know what to do with it. And usually in the unknown, we become scared. We would prefer slavery in the known world than potential freedom in an unknown world. And so that's why people are becoming afraid of the rapid change that's happening. So my job is to help people become inspired, because when you're in fear, all you're thinking of is fight, flee, or freeze. When you're inspired, all the nuances, think of an MMA fighter, they could get knocked the fuck out and killed. So why does Rashad Evans and John Jones and Anderson Silva, why do they play in the ring? Because it's actually intelligent to play. It opens up, it confuses the other. It opens up more opportunities of what you can do. It's not just fear, fight, or flight. So that's why I think I'm hopeful. I think that I wouldn't put it in terms of winning, because we're also losing our innocence. We're losing a lot of what we were. These things are going to come to pass. They're just not going to happen exactly the way we think they are, or the way that Klaus Schwab thinks it will. I think it's going to come to pass, and it's going to be nuanced. It's going to be a lot of slavery, just like there used to be a lot of slavery. Some violence, just like there used to be violence. It's just going to change form, and people are going to wake up, and now we're going to have the tools to wake up quicker. That's why I think that we are winning and losing, I guess, to answer your question. And all that we're losing is what we're holding on to in the form of a world that made us feel that convenience is the only reason that we're here. I think the affluent world is going to get a fucking karate kick to the nuts here soon.
I totally agree. Well said. Well said. Well said. Ben Joseph Stewart.